Welcome, dear viewers. I am Miss Chapters, the enigmatic storyteller behind Chunky Chapters, your favorite audiovisual novel series. Each week, I craft narratives of transformation and desire, where characters embrace their deepest cravings and experience extraordinary journeys of weight gain, feederism, and fat fetishism. And here's something special just for you. For every 10 new subscribers we gain each week, I will personally add 1 pound to my frame. Imagine watching my body grow softer and rounder, my belly swelling and expanding with each new episode. Picture my thighs thickening, my arms becoming plush and heavy, and my once petite figure being destroyed and ruined into something beautifully voluptuous and inviting. But before we begin, let me share a secret. By supporting me on Patreon, you gain early access to these stories as soon as they are finished, peering into the world I've created before anyone else. Your support is the ink that fills my quill, allowing me to weave more intricate tales for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. New episodes will be unveiled every Sunday, so make sure to stay tuned and witness our story unfold together. Let's embark on this journey of indulgence and transformation. Tonight, we delve into the tale of Emily, an extremely fit and thin star athlete whose life took a dark turn after meeting Stephen. Emily, known for her disciplined lifestyle and athletic prowess, never anticipated the profound and horrifying impact Stephen would have on her world. Unbeknownst to Emily, Stephen carried a curse. Each intimate encounter with him would bring uncontrollable and dramatic changes to her body. Imagine Emily's shock and despair as her once skinny, muscular physique began to swell. Her belly expanded, her thighs thickened, and her body transformed, ruining her athletic form. How will Emily cope with these shocking transformations? What will she do when she uncovers the truth about Stephen's curse? Join us as we explore Emily's journey.
I've always found solace in the rhythmic pounding of my feet against the pavement, the way the world seemed to fall into sync with each step. At 1.70 meters and a lean 50 kilograms, my body was a testament to years of discipline and dedication. Every medal on my shelf told a story of perseverance and triumph, a silent witness to the countless hours I spent training for marathons and perfecting gymnastics routines. Yet, despite my accolades, my life often felt like it was stuck on repeat. By day, I worked as a medical assistant, immersed in the monotony of patient files and medical records. The clinical atmosphere, with its antiseptic smell and the hum of fluorescent lights, was a stark contrast to the vibrant energy I craved. The highlight of my week was the evenings spent at the fitness studio with my friends, a sanctuary where the air was filled with the sounds of exertion and camaraderie. Our group was a tapestry of dedication, each one of us striving for personal bests and new milestones. Except for Sarah. Sarah stood out, not just because she was morbidly obese, but because she had the courage to be there, surrounded by people who often didn't understand her struggle. The others, unfortunately, masked their discomfort with cruel jokes and whispered comments, their laughter echoing off the studio walls. That rainy evening, the studio's usual bright lights seemed dimmed by the storm outside. Water streaked the large windows, distorting the view of the world beyond, much like the way my friends distorted their perception of Sarah. The usual banter began, the same hurtful remarks that had become a bitter routine. I glanced at Sarah, her shoulders hunched as she absorbed each jab, her eyes reflecting a pain I knew all too well. It was then that something inside me snapped. "That's enough," I said, my voice cutting through the laughter like a blade. The room fell silent, my friends staring at me in shock. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my words. "We're here to support each other, not tear each other down." Sarah looked up at me, surprise and gratitude flickering across her face. I offered her a small, encouraging smile. "Sarah, let's start your workout. You're here, and that's what matters." From that day on, I made it my mission to help Sarah. We started slow, with light exercises and short walks. Each small victory, an extra minute on the treadmill, a few pounds lost, was a cause for celebration. I watched as Sarah's confidence grew with each passing day, her spirit lifting alongside her physical transformation. Our dynamic changed as well. My friends, shamed by their previous behavior and inspired by Sarah's progress, began to offer their own encouragement. The studio, once a place of judgment, became a haven of support. Months passed, and the day Sarah completed her first 5K run arrived. The morning was crisp, the air charged with anticipation. As Sarah crossed the finish line, her face lit up with a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. I cheered the loudest, my heart swelling with pride. In that moment, I realized that true strength wasn't just about physical prowess. It was about lifting others up, believing in their potential when they couldn't see it themselves. The weeks that followed Sarah's first 5K were infused with a sense of accomplishment that seemed to permeate the very air we breathed. Sarah and I had fallen into a steady rhythm, our partnership growing stronger both inside and outside the gym. Her dedication was beginning to pay off, and it was time for a much-anticipated progress check. We sat in the small office at the back of the fitness studio, the familiar scent of sweat and determination lingering in the air. Our trainer flipped through charts and notes, his brow furrowing slightly before breaking into a warm smile. "Sarah, you've done an incredible job," he said, looking up at her with genuine admiration. "You've lost 15 kilograms. Sarah's face lit up, her eyes sparkling with pride and joy. I squeezed her hand, feeling a rush of shared triumph. This moment wasn't just hers, it was ours. I had been a part of her journey, and it filled me with a sense of purpose that was both profound and exhilarating. As Sarah continued to progress, I found myself confronting my own challenges. My life, though stable, lacked excitement. I had been single for some time, my last relationship ending in a slow, mutual drift apart. Urged by my friends, I reluctantly decided to try online dating, hoping to find a connection that had eluded me for so long. The process was initially disheartening. Each profile, each date seemed to blur into the next. Men who were either too self-absorbed, too disinterested, or simply incompatible with my lifestyle. My evenings became a series of awkward small talk and unmet expectations, and I began to lose hope. Then I met Stephen. His profile stood out, not because of flashy photos or grandiose claims, but because of his honesty. Stephen was open about who he was, a man who weighed around 125 kilograms, with a warm smile and kind eyes that radiated genuine warmth from the screen. Intrigued, I decided to meet him. Our first date was at a cozy coffee shop on a quiet afternoon. Nervous energy buzzed within me as I waited, but as soon as I saw Stephen, my anxiety melted away. He was easy to talk to, his humor and intelligence immediately putting me at ease. Our conversation flowed effortlessly, a comforting rhythm that felt both familiar and new. Stephen wasn't my usual type. He was larger than any man I had dated before, his belly noticeable yet oddly comforting. I found myself attracted to it in a way I hadn't anticipated. There was something soothing, even arousing, about the softness, a stark contrast to the hard lines of my own body. This new facet of attraction was both surprising and exciting, opening my eyes to a deeper, more complex form of connection. As we continued to see each other, my attraction to Stephen's physicality grew. I loved the way his belly moved when he laughed, the way it felt against me when we hugged. It was a strange revelation, but one I embraced wholeheartedly. I realized that attraction wasn't about fitting into societal norms. It was about connection, chemistry, and the way someone made me feel. Our relationship blossomed, filled with laughter, shared interests, and growing intimacy. Stephen brought a new dimension to my life, one that was rich and fulfilling in unexpected ways. He appreciated me for who I was, not just for my athletic achievements or my physical appearance, but for my kindness, my dedication, and my strength. My world expanded. I continued to support Sarah, who was thriving both physically and emotionally. My relationship with Stephen deepened as we explored the complexities and joys of our connection. Through it all, I discovered a new sense of balance and contentment. My life was no longer a series of routines and workouts. It was filled with meaningful relationships, personal growth, and a newfound understanding of myself and my desires. I learned that true fitness wasn't just about physical health, it was about emotional well-being and the strength to embrace love in all its forms. Looking back on my journey, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. I had faced my own prejudices and fears, emerging stronger and more open-hearted. In doing so, I found a love that was as unexpected as it was beautiful, a love that fit me in ways I had never imagined. As weeks turned into months, Stephen and I found our relationship deepening in ways I had only dreamed of. Our bond grew stronger, built on mutual respect, shared humor, and an ever-expanding emotional connection. We spent our time together doing a blend of activities, from cooking meals to exploring new places. But what truly stood out was the growing intimacy between us. I found myself drawn to Stephen in ways I hadn't expected. The contrast between our bodies fascinated me. My form was lean and muscular, sculpted by years of dedication to fitness. Every inch of my body spoke of discipline and endurance, my muscles well-defined and taut. Stephen, on the other hand, was soft and expansive. His belly was round and full, a stark contrast to my flat-toned stomach. His arms were strong but covered in a layer of comforting softness, his chest broad and inviting. One evening, as we lay together on my couch, the closeness sparked an undeniable chemistry. The flickering candlelight cast a warm glow over us, creating an intimate atmosphere. I felt a surge of desire as I traced my fingers over Stephen's body, marveling at the differences between us. My hand sunk slightly into his belly, the softness a surprising delight. Our kisses grew deeper, more passionate. My heart raced as I explored Stephen's body, feeling the heat and the softness. Stephen responded with equal fervor, his hands moving over my muscles, appreciating the strength and firmness. It was a dance of contrasts, hard meeting soft, lean, intertwining with full. When we moved to the bedroom, the intimacy reached a new level. We undressed slowly, savoring each moment. Standing before Stephen, my toned body illuminated by the soft light, I saw his eyes filled with admiration and desire as he took in the sight of me. I felt a similar appreciation as I looked at him, my eyes tracing the curves of his body. Our lovemaking was a symphony of contrasts. I was captivated by the way Stephen's belly pressed against me, a constant reminder of our physical differences. It aroused me in ways I hadn't anticipated, the softness enhancing every touch and movement. Stephen's hands, strong yet gentle, explored my body with a tenderness that sent shivers down my spine. As we moved together, I felt a profound connection. Our bodies fit in a unique, harmonious way, each complementing the other. Stephen's weight and warmth provided a sense of security and comfort, a stark contrast to the hard, disciplined edges of my own body. The juxtaposition of our forms created a blend of sensations that was both exhilarating and deeply satisfying. We found a rhythm, a perfect balance of giving and receiving. Stephen's belly, which I had initially seen as merely a physical trait, became a source of profound intimacy and arousal. I loved the way it moved, the way it felt against my skin. It was a new dimension of attraction, one that spoke to me on a deeper, more primal level. Afterward, as we lay entwined in the afterglow, I felt a contentment I hadn't known was possible. I rested my head on Stephen's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. His arm was draped around me, his hand gently caressing my back. The differences in our bodies seemed to melt away, leaving only the pure connection between us. In the quiet moments, I wondered if this unexpected love had a deeper purpose. Stephen had a secret, something he hadn't yet shared with me. I could sense it, a hint of something just beneath the surface. I felt a deep sense of contentment, a connection with Stephen that went beyond the physical. As I rested my head on his chest, I felt safe and loved. But Stephen's expression was troubled. He gently stroked my hair, his mind clearly racing. Taking a deep breath, he spoke softly, his voice tinged with apprehension. "Emily, there's something I need to tell you," he began, his words hesitant. "I have a curse." I sat up slightly, my brows furrowing in confusion. "A curse?" I echoed, my heart skipping a beat. "What do you mean?" Stephen looked into my eyes, his expression sincere and pained. "Every time I have sex, the woman I'm with gains weight. It happens within a couple of hours, around 5 to 10 kilograms. But when they break up with me, they lose it." I stared at him, my mind struggling to process his words. It seemed unbelievable, like something out of a fantasy novel. "Are you serious?" I asked, my voice a mix of disbelief and shock. Stephen nodded, his gaze steady. "I am. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I've seen it happen before. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to lose you." My mind was reeling. I had never encountered anything like this, and the implications were overwhelming. I loved Stephen, deeply and truly, but this revelation was almost too much to comprehend. As I sat there, a strange sensation began to creep over my body. I could feel it, a subtle tingling that started in my midsection and slowly spread outward. It was an unfamiliar sensation, a mixture of warmth and pressure. I glanced down at my stomach, noticing that it seemed slightly fuller, the muscles less defined. Stephen, I think it's happening, I whispered, my voice trembling. Stephen watched with a mixture of sorrow and fascination as my body began to change. The tingling sensation intensified, becoming more pronounced. I placed my hands on my stomach, feeling the slight but unmistakable swell of new fat. It was as if my skin was stretching, the layers of muscle beneath softening and yielding to the growth. I stood up, my legs trembling, and walked to the full-length mirror on the wall. As I watched, my body continued to transform. My thighs thickened, the lean muscle giving way to a softer, rounder shape. I could see the definition in my calves fade, replaced by a smooth layer of fat. My arms, once toned and muscular, began to lose their firmness. The biceps and triceps softened, the skin becoming more pliable. I ran my hands over them, feeling the changes with a mixture of dread and fascination. My breasts felt heavier, fuller, as if they were filling with weight. I turned to the side, observing the curve of my buttocks. They had become rounder, the tight muscles relaxing and expanding. My hips widened slightly, the additional weight redistributing itself in ways that were both strange and intriguing. My hands moved to my face, feeling the subtle changes in my cheeks and jawline. My cheeks were slightly fuller, giving my face a softer, more rounded appearance. The sharp lines of my jaw were less pronounced, adding to the overall transformation. The entire process took less than 2 hours, but to me, it felt like an eternity. I stood in front of the mirror, my mind racing as I took in my new form. The person staring back at me was both familiar and alien. I could see myself, but with an added layer of softness that hadn't been there before. I turned to Stephen, my eyes filled with a mixture of fear, confusion, and something else, curiosity. "This is real," I said softly, almost to myself. "It's really happening." Stephen nodded, his expression one of deep sorrow. "I'm so sorry, Emily. I never wanted this for you. I understand if you don't want to be with me anymore." My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. I had a choice to make, one that would shape the rest of my life. I loved Stephen, deeply and profoundly. The connection we shared was unlike anything I had ever experienced, but the weight gain, the physical changes, it was a lot to process. I turned back to the mirror, running my hands over my new curves. The sensation was strange, yet not entirely unpleasant. There was a part of me that found the added softness intriguing, even arousing. But another part of me mourned the loss of my athletic physique, the body I had worked so hard to maintain. "I need time to think," I said finally, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "This is a lot to take in." Stephen nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Take all the time you need. I'll be here, whatever you decide." I nodded, my mind a swirl of uncertainty. I had a decision to make, one that would test the strength of my love and my willingness to accept myself in a new form.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Chunky Chapters. I'm Miss Chapters, and I hope you enjoyed diving into the tale of Emily's dramatic transformation. Your support means the world to me, and I invite you to continue this journey by subscribing to our YouTube channel and supporting us on Patreon. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. What did you like? What kind of stories would you like to see next? Your feedback helps shape the stories I tell, making each episode even more engaging and captivating. Remember, the next episode will release next Sunday, but for my wonderful Patreon supporters, you'll get early access as soon as I finish it. Your support on Patreon not only helps bring these stories to life, but also lets you peek into our world before anyone else. Don't forget, for every 10 new subscribers we gain each week, I'll be adding £1 to my frame, bringing a special touch of reality to our storytelling. So, subscribe, share, and be part of our growing community. Thank you once again for watching. I look forward to sharing more stories of indulgence and transformation with you. Until next time, goodbye.